Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. You know what that means? Daily Dish time, right? There it is. Daily Dish time means that wise women show up on a Wednesday. And I already see Patsy, Doris, Jeanette, and Jocelyn in the house. So, I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, how are you today? How is your Wednesday going? How is it unfolding for you? Is it fabulous? So far, so good. Even though I'm sitting here in a sweaty workout bra, it's what happens. I had a really frustrating day with pickleball today. I can't even tell you. It's just like that sometimes. And isn't that how life is too? Right? Hi, Karen. Nice to have you here. Alice, good to have you as well. And you know what I've noticed is the more frustrated I am and the worse I seem to play. What I've noticed though too is if I could just take a breath and just relax into what it is that I'm doing and be in the moment instead of catastrophizing and all of the rest, it gets better, doesn't it? Oh man, can we overlay that onto our lives, y'all? I think so. Patsy, you went to a flower farm today? Fabulous. Hi, Sandy. It's good to have you here. And I see our Nancy is in the house, Kathy as well. Cheers to Mother Hen, by the way. Who else is here? I just saw somebody else come in the house. I don't know if I missed you. Lizzie, I didn't miss you. Of course I didn't miss you. Good to have you here. So today we're getting ready to wrap up the week. Can you believe how quickly this week has just scurried on by? Honestly, it has. But I just want to mention a few things before we get into that. And first of all is our Name Your Price sale. Have you seen it? It's fun. It's a bunch of digital products that we have put together in a fabulous little bundle for you so that you have resources. Because, the way we eat is greatly influenced by what it is that we're cooking. So obviously, if you have a certain way that you want to be eating, then you're going to want to have some really great recipes so you can hit it out of the park, right? Take advantage of this because these are terrific sales and they're all downloadable. You can print them off. You can put them in a 3-ring binder and you're going to be set. That's how many goodies that we have for you. All you have to do is go to savingdinner.com/show. Screaming deal. And I just suggest that you highly, highly, highly take advantage of it. We're also relaunching our Crave Water because Crave Water sold out like that last time. Now it's back out again. And Karen said she's loving our Crave. Isn't it the most delicious thing? I have still a little bit. I'm right about here. It wasn't as hot today as it usually is playing pickleball, but Crave Water is so delicious. Lemonade. And it ends up helping you with muscle soreness. It ends up helping you with your gut. And most of all, and most important, it helps with cravings because it knocks them out like that. Seriously, that's what L-glutamine does. So it is back in stock. You can get yours now. Go to savingdinner.com/crave water. When you go to that site, that landing page, I should say, you're going to see me make Crave Water and just show you exactly how. It's super easy. Hello, Teresa. So I just want to show you, this is what it looks like on the inside because this is my Crave Water. And I don't even know how many containers I've been through, but that's it. It's just this big tub of powder and tastes exact. I don't suggest that you put this on your tongue and gums. You know how I do that. L-glutamine for that. But Crave Water in your water bottle. And I'm telling you, just enjoy it. Deliciousness. You want an extra treat? We make a chia fresca, and it's lemonade with chilled chia seeds. Oh my goodness. It's Crave Water lemonade is what it is. It's so good. Really good. Helps. And you know what chia seeds help with, right? Omega-3 fatty acids. They're a great source of protein and lots of fiber. So, hey, how can you say no to that? What else do we have going on? Trying to think. $300, spend $300 in our shop and you live in the lower 48, we're going to give it to you for free shipping. That's our way of saying thank you for your loyalty. We also have, what else do we have going on? I got to go look at my notes because I'm not remembering. Oh, the webinar is on Monday. Are you coming to our webinar? The Hot Melt 30 is on the docket for September 1st, all the way through September 30th. And this is the needle moving program that has helped so many of our lovelies who have taken the weight off and kept it off. Started with the Hot Melt 30. You want to come to the webinar? Real easy. It's on Monday the 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern. Remember, our webinars are always recorded. You can go back and you can watch the recording, but you need to get your seat. Go to savingdinner.com/30. 30, THIRTY. That's what you have to do. You have to write it out. And we have an Etsy shop. Of course, I've told you about that. And if you haven't grabbed your swag yet, now's the time. savingdinner.com/Etsy. And lastly, the quote of the week is pretty intense. If you want to increase your success rate, you are going to want to double your failure rate. And you know why I like this one? Because it says risk it, sister. Ah! Nobody likes taking risks, right? Nobody's like saying, oh, good, sign me up. I love a good risk. But I will tell you something. It is the truth that when you fail well and learn something from that lesson, and then go to the next time, and the next time, watch yourself succeed. Sue, I'm glad you're here with the wise women. We love our wise women, by the way. We're all here. We're going to be talking today about our identities. Again, that's what we've been talking about. I believe our identity is so influential, and we don't oftentimes look at it and think, okay, so what's my identity all about, right? It's interesting because Karen shared a quote in our Slack group for Take Back Your Body. If you're part of Take Back Your Body, then you know. Hey, Deborah. And that was that we see things not as they are, but we see things as we are. And this is absolutely the truth, because every time we put on our pair of glasses, it is written, this is my perception, right? And the problem with our perceptions oftentimes is that it's not 100% the truth. It's not. And we think it is. We often think it is, but I think we need to temper that. And the way to do that is with a little introspection and some other stuff, but we'll talk about it. But the whole idea of this quote is that it underscores that our perception of the world is deeply influenced by personal experience, our values, our biases. By the way, we all have them, our emotions, and our beliefs. Wise women know this. And wise women become aware of this and notice when we're throwing that down and when we're putting on those glasses. And it's really crucial and important that we do this, because sometimes there are lessons that we need to learn, and sometimes there are ways that we need to perceive the world a little differently. So we have our own lens of identity and experiences, and we do not necessarily see things objectively. Now, I'm going to ask you for something. Give me a pinkies up if you agree. You know, the last time I checked, none of you all walked on water. I know I don't. We don't. And have you noticed that as we start noticing about ourselves, as we start really even questioning our identity, our beliefs, our biases, all of that, and as we grow from that we change, we evolve, we become, we're different. Our emotional intelligence level goes up. And that is a good thing. Nobody wants to stay the same. I don't want to be the same woman I was last year. I want to be different. I want to be stronger. I want to be smarter. I want to be more emotionally intelligent. I want to love more. I want to give more. I want to be more. I want to influence more and lead better, do better. Is that you? Give me a pinkies up if that's you, because that's the thing that's resonating with me right now. And that's the thing that we have to understand if we are to be a part of our identity. Because, you've heard this thing before, identity crisis. I don't believe we really have identity crisis as much as we look at our identities and say, well, that's not me. I don't believe it's as much of a crisis as much as it is, wow, I haven't looked at myself for a really long time. I haven't evaluated what the heck is going on here. So we have to remember it's our internal world that influences our external world. It has to be that way. Of course it does. So let's look at how this plays out. I've got some points for you, and I think they're really relevant. I think they really hit home. And if we all practice this, can you imagine how incredible we are going to become? How much more vibrancy we're going to live with? How much more fully bloomed our lives are going to become? This is a beautiful thing. So number one is our subjectivity of perception, because everyone has a unique perspective. Duh. But is everyone 100% on the mark? I've shared this story before, but this is absolutely the whole picture here of perception, because it's where you are that's going to influence what it is that you see. A long time ago, this is 4 years ago, Mark and I first moved to Brevard, and we are on top of the world on this little area called Rich Mountain. And we are the only house for a long ways. We had the most incredible view. And up there, that far up, I think we were almost 3,000 feet up, if I'm not mistaken, or like 2,800. Hi, Lisa. Well, I'm so glad you're here. So we were that far up. And I remember pileated woodpeckers were just all over the place, right? Now, a pileated woodpecker is the great, big, huge, tall, woody woodpecker. The big ones, like they're 19 inches tall. And they used to be rare, but up here in the mountains, they're pretty commonplace. So, we were just fascinated with watching these things. It's just freaking amazing. These beautiful, huge, tall woodpeckers that grab onto the tree, and you'd watch them and bop, 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 bop. It wasn't like tick, 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 like a little woodpecker, like a downy woodpecker. It was like bop, 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 bop. It was like this big bass sounding woodpecker. And then they have this song that sounds, Marla always called it the jungle bird, and it like ba, 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 kind of a thing. And it was, I'm not doing a very good job on my woodpecker sounds, but you get it. And when we'd hear them, we'd go rushing out to go look at them because they were so beautiful. Well, here we are. We're out on the thing, and I swear I saw it, and I went, oh, Mark, there it is. And I point, and I said, there it is. It's right there at 12 o'clock. And he's looking, and he's looking, and he's going, no, don't see it. Don't. I said, how can you not? It's right there at 12 o'clock. And he's looking, and he's doing one of these and dodging up and down. And I said, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And he said, I don't see it. Then I just realized, what's the problem here? Why can't he see it? Well, I'm 5'7". He's 6'1". So I take him, I pull him down, and I said, right there, see him? We're cheek to cheek. And he goes, oh, cool. But right then I had an epiphany that our perception is only what we can see, and that not everybody is going to be standing in the same place that we are. And not everybody's going to see the same thing that we do. That's okay. And that's where we need to give each other a whole heck of a lot of grace, right? But that's how it is. There is this subjectivity to perception, because it really depends on where you're sitting and where you are. And it also plays into, your belief system, how you were raised, your culture, your ethics, your ethnics, all of that, because we have different things. And when I Googled this, I did, what is the biggest influence on identity is your cultural, ethnic background. Of course it is, because this is what our people do, right? And then we get influenced by the world and our, school and all of the society and all the rest of it. But, we are all influenced in some way or in the other. But our perception oftentimes has to do with the way that we see things. And it's all colored by these different things. And then there's also the influence of personal bias. And we all have biases, right? We all listen to the same newscast every night. We all do the same thing, and we want to hear the things that we want to hear. We don't want to hear the other stuff. We're all like that. And as balanced as we like to say that we are, we're not. We're not, you know? It's conscious, it's unconscious, by the way. And it colors our perception of people, events, situations, etc. And I think if we could just acknowledge that, couldn't we just all get along a little bit better, don't you think? Right? Instead of being so dogmatic, we'd give each other a little grace. I didn't even think of that. My bias is my bias and yours is yours. If we all agreed that we had bias, boy, I think the whole world would be a whole lot better. Number 3 is our emotional state has a role in all of this. Did you know that? Do you see things from a different perspective when you're calm and relaxed and things are good versus how you see things when you are exhausted and tired and cranky and hungry? How many of you have gone to the grocery store and bought crap because you were so hungry and strung out? Right here, sister. I'll put my pinkies up for that one. True story. True story. It happens. It happens. I mean, I've done that with cashews. I love cashews. And I think, cashews are good. That's not like buying a bag of potato chips and eating that on the way home, or the M&Ms that I used to do way back in the day. But cashews, I can plow through some cashews. And when you're hungry, you don't stick with the grocery list. That's because our emotional state and the way we feel about ourselves is completely off and completely different. We identify as a hungry, starving person who's got to get something into our tanks. So, and keep that in mind, because oftentimes we will, when we're tired and we'll often see things very negatively. We will see that glass half empty. We will not see it half full when we are in a crabby, sleep-deprived, horrible state. Patsy's got her hand up. See, I'm not the only one. I'm not proud of it. It's just a fact of life. This is why I always say, we have to have plan A or plan B in our purses. I used to walk around with, I used to have little almond butter things, and I would suck on some almond butter. Believe it or not, that's amazing how well that helps because of the fiber and the protein and the fat involved in it. It's quick, it's easy. It's not so messy, easy to do. So when you don't have your almond butter packets in your purse, you're going to default to something else. So my next question, keeping all of this in mind, by the way, is how can we see ourselves more clearly? How can we be more introspective? Because this is what wise women need to put into their lens of seeing, so they can start identifying with emotionally intelligent women, wiser women, more vibrant living women, right? I've got 8 points for you to ponder. The first one is self-reflection. We have to dedicate time to self-reflection. Have you thought about that? I believe journaling, meditation, quiet contemplation, a gratitude walk, all of these bring in healthy self-reflection. We don't want to just sit there gazing at our navel for the sake of gazing at our navel. Out of this, we want to become better, right? We want to be women that are more patient, more kind, more loving. And it's this healthy introspection and this time to do it and dedicating just a little bit of time that will do that. Now, I have been meditating now. I don't know how long I've been meditating now. I'm going to say 4 or 5 years. I have noticed an increase in patience with myself, with myself and with others. I have noticed that. Used to be knee-jerk all the time. I still do it from time to time, but not like I used to. And I'm proud of that. And the reason that I'm proud about that is because I notice it's because of just taking that time to center and taking that time for some self-reflection and taking that time to journal. All of it makes a huge difference in the way you conduct your life. And that's what this is all about, right? The other thing that we can do is seek feedback from trusted sources. And I have to say this, over and over and over again because I have several people whom I trust and I love, but there are some people who I love and who I trust. I wouldn't ask for any kind of feedback. Do you know why? Because they're negative or because they're not going to come back with something. They're going to be too knee jerky. That's not helpful. I don't need more of the same. I need something different. And I need somebody who's going to see things from a slightly different perspective. And this is why I ask. So we have to be extraordinarily cautious with who we're asking for that. Number 3 is to challenge your beliefs. Ask yourself, why do I believe this? Is this a limiting belief? Is this something that I've carted around since I was a kid that no longer applies? Is this something that is just my parents' ideas, opinions, etc.? Ask yourself why you hold certain views and ask yourself, does this still serve me? That's important. Karen, my favorite meditation, I do a Peloton meditation on my site. I like Ross Rayburn so much. I think he's so good. And I use my meditation times. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I might do a 10-minute fitness goal meditation and I'm looking at something. Sometimes it's just a guided meditation. And there's other times I'll just put on music and just meditate. So that's how the whole thing works. And I think it's really helpful to sometimes to be even a little goal oriented with your meditation, by the way, because there's some things that you need to calm down and some things that you need to add to the equation. Yeah. The other thing is this is having these mindfulness practices in your pocket, like meditation, like journaling, like gratitude walks. And I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to challenge you. I challenge, and put your hand up if you're going to take me up on this. 30 days of either meditating or journaling or doing gratitude walks. And your gratitude walk is just simply walking wherever it is that you walk, if you walk on a regular basis, and just being grateful, just uttering these things out loud and saying, I'm so grateful for this beautiful sky. I'm so grateful for these trees that are shading me. I'm so grateful that I have this dog to walk every single day. I'm so grateful for this sidewalk that's nice and even and I'm not falling on my face, whatever. But what I've noticed, because I practice all 3, and what I have noticed is bam, bam, bam. The growth that I have experienced, the expansion of my heart that I have experienced has been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal. And I'll tell you what, you take up all 3, and by the way, it doesn't take a lot of time. Watch what happens. Watch what happens. The inner calm and the inner peace is crazy. No, it's not crazy. It's incredible. Oh, good. Michelle says she's been journaling in the Take Back Your Life book. I am so glad. It's so good. Ross Rayburn is who it is. Ross Rayburn. Yes, start today. Go, Sue. I want to see you do it. I want to see you do it. It will change everything. It changes your perspective. It changes your identity. It puts you in this place of absolute calm. Puts you in this place of being in touch and knowing who you are. It puts you in the place. There you go, Lizzie. The gratitude journal, I think, is a fabulous tool because it builds on one another. It just puts you in this place of, I don't know, peace, absolute peace. I listen to Ross when I go to bed at night. So Mark always says, is Ross coming to bed with us tonight? Because he has some wonderful sleep meditations, lots of good visuals and things he has he talks about jewels, like it's a bright emerald and it's just emoting green all over the place. And I can see it, and I think about that. And he has you do he has you do your mind, your heart, and your gut. And it's just, I love it. I think it's been very change oriented. Now, this other one that I have for you is really crucial, and that is to avoid instant reactions. Do you know The instant reaction stuff is like bump, bump. And half the time, that's knee jerk stuff. And half the time we end up going, "Ugh, I wish I hadn't said that, or I wish I hadn't done that." And if we can just take the moment to process and even just say, you know what, I'm going to need a minute with this. I'm not so sure that's an interesting idea. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It gives us an opportunity. And I'm going to tell you something about this. This is interesting. Now, when we are just reactive, we're working from the brainstem. That's the most primitive part of our bodies, right? This is the part that keeps our bodies alive. And it's also the part that goes boop, boop, knee jerk. So when we process back to front. And the prefrontal cortex, do you know what that does? That is the complexity part of your brain. It's the processor that's able to process, that's able to see the abstract thinking part, that's able to see both sides of the equation, that's able to bring empathy into the equation. It's the moneymaker, I always say, because it's your brain on going poof. I can think these things through. So I always think of this when I have like a visceral action, like, I don't like that. I want to pull back and I say, I'm going to need a minute with this. I'm going to need a minute to digest this. I am not going to reply to this email. I'm going to put it I'm going to reply to it, but I'm going to put it in a draft. I'm going to look at it tomorrow, and it's just, I can't even tell you what a lifesaver this has been. It is by design that I've chosen to do this. And also because my introspection has said, I do not want to be one of these people, boom, boom, knee jerking my way through life and having to go back and clean up the mess, right? It doesn't work. And I've seen, we've all suffered the consequences of that. So when we do that and we give ourselves the buffer to say, I will answer you tomorrow, I will give you this, whatever, then it helps. And the other thing that we need to do is we need to educate ourselves. Do you know how many books there are out there that'll really help? One of the biggest needle movers for me, I mentioned it yesterday, was Carol Dweck's book on being mindful, right? What was it called? The growth mindset. And the growth mindset is that we have this notion that we have a fixed mindset, and then there's this idea of a growth mindset. And when I very first read it, this is a few years back, probably 5 years back or so. When I first read it, I looked at it and I was like, dang, I've got a fixed mindset. That's me right there. I don't want to be like that, because a fixed mindset is a closed mindset. A fixed mindset is the thing that keeps us boxed in. It doesn't give us the flexibility and the growth that we're looking for. It doesn't give us the vibrancy that we want in our lives. It gives us just a teeny tiny place to live, is what it does. And nobody wants that for themselves. I certainly don't. The other thing that we can do is engage in new experiences. Now, I'm not saying go bungee jumping or jump out of a perfectly good airplane with a parachute, on your back. We don't have to do things that are daring and scary and dangerous. But sometimes we need to challenge ourselves. Like, you know what? I'll do that. I'll try this. I'll go meet those people. I'll go play pickleball with you, Leanne. Something like that. Those are things. It's out of the comfort zone for sure, but it's out of the comfort zone that we do the growth. It's out of the comfort zone that we can discover who we are and what our true identities are and what we're really about. Because we're so much more than we think we are. We are fearfully and wonderfully made in His image, y'all. We're born here at this time in this place on purpose and for purpose. And what is our purpose except to serve and to be more and to be full of life and love? What more could we want? There is no more, there's nothing else beside that. That's the beauty of what life has to offer us. How are you going to do that? Well, if you're open to it and you're engaging in new experiences and you've made a decision that your identity is way more than you're giving yourself latitude for, and that you understand who you are and whose you are, and that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, It's going to cause you to see things slightly different, new lenses. And then lastly, may I just suggest that you practice actively listening. Don't listen, don't hear, listen. Listen. And not so that you can interpret what somebody else is saying, not so that you can put something on. There's nobody likes that. Nobody likes this when they say what you were doing was X, Y, and Z. That's just garbage. I've had people do that before to me. And it actually ended a friendship, you know? I'm not going to have somebody put something on me. That's not true. And you shouldn't either. Because nobody can tell you what your heart is about, you know, except God himself. But when we are in conversation and we focus truly on listening and loving without immediately forming judgments, what do you think that does for the other person? That's an act of love, is what that is. It's an act of love. And when you give love, you get it back. And there's a growth that's happening there. It's elevated. It's high vibe. It's not this low yuck stuff. Our daily lives can profoundly change everything. Our daily lives can profoundly change everything. You know why? Because the way we perceive our world is all influenced our introspection, the lack of, or the incredible amount that we do. So if we are going to become the vibrant women that we say that we want to be, then we're going to be diving into this thing about identity. And we're going to see things from a slightly different lens because our lives depend on it if we're going to live it vibrantly. And I will tell you right now, the women that I know that are in this Hot Melt Sprint group, the women that I know that show up daily for the Daily Dish, those are some vibrant women. Those are women who are looking to do this exact work. I invite you into this process. I know it will change everything for you. That's it for you today, my wise women. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you. We always have our announcements on, you know, stuff that I tell you at the beginning, the specials and all this other kind of stuff at savingdinner.com/announcements. So go take a peek-see there. And remember, tomorrow we're going to wrap this whole thing up with a great big bow. So you're not going to want to miss. I hope to see you soon. Hi, Jane. It's good to see you. You are so welcome. I'm glad you were here. Pinkies up to all of you out there, and peace be with you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.